Just like every other personality type, there are certain times and situations where the INFJ craves attention, acknowledgement, and sympathy. However, being the introspective and introverted personality type they are, sometimes they much prefer the space and time to manage their issues on their own. So, when is it most crucial to grant the INFJ the space they need? Welcome back, psychos. Before we get into it, we'd love it if you liked and subscribed to our channel, as well as to click the post notification bell so you never miss a video. Alright, let's get right into it. Starting with Number 1. Following a disagreement or communicating unfavorable news. Things like disagreements and sharing difficult news are challenging for just about anyone. By triggering an irritating discomfort within us, it's fair to want to alleviate that uneasiness as fast as possible. And while some people are quick to try and solve this uneasiness through more communication, sometimes it's best to take some time and give some space to everyone involved. Well, at least that's what the INFJ would say. Whether the situation becomes heated or not, processing and decompressing are extremely necessary for the INFJ to be able to come back with effective communication and attentiveness. Without this required space, they won't be clear-minded enough to approach the situation rationally. In fact, with their mind going 1,000 miles a minute, INFJs are likely to shut down completely without getting to the bottom of what the discussion was really about. And while the space is sometimes entirely necessary, there are certain communication styles that allow the INFJ to process and effectively communicate in real time, but it takes a special person and special patience on the other end. Number 2. When they communicate it, verbally or non-verbally. Showing up to most relationships with an avoidant attachment approach, INFJs almost always keep their distance in one way or another. They require ample amounts of alone time, no matter how much they value their current connection. Luckily, once a friend or partner has had the time to figure out the INFJ's need for temporary isolation, it's not difficult to pick up their cues. While it may start off with the INFJ verbally communicating this need, even in the most unpredictable times, it usually becomes a second nature to those that spend enough time with the INFJ. This is especially true in joint living situations, where the INFJ is challenged to share their valued time and space with another individual. Although the INFJ isn't always able to explain why they need space or what they plan to do with their desired alone time, it's in the respectful non-questioning of another that the INFJ feels safe to do so. Whether this means communicating from a distance through text or voicemail with clarity that any sort of immediate reply is not expected, or leaving the house for a few hours, allowing them the freedom of solitude without the self-made pressure of explaining themselves. Number 3. When they're overwhelmed. Sensitive to surrounding emotions and stimuli, things like busy workplaces, parenting, and public spaces can take a major toll on the INFJ's energy levels. Whether they've notoriously taken on more than they should have due to their self-criticism, or they've simply found themselves in a time of life that requires every angle of their focus and patience, when the INFJ says they're too busy to make plans, they usually mean it. In these overwhelming times, it's best to not add one more thing to their to-do list, or to guilt them into the fact that they seem to never make time for other people. Even if it's not external commitments that they're balancing, sometimes the INFJ can become overburdened with self-improvement or their continuous attempt to get back to a healthy equilibrium. Whatever it is, when the INFJ is noticeably overwhelmed, the only appropriate approach would be to offer a legitimate solution or to lend a hand. However, even if you show up with this helpful attitude, don't be offended if the INFJ stubbornly refuses help while insisting on doing it themselves. Number 4. After a breakup. Notorious for their door-slamming tactic to abruptly shutting out toxic relationships, this sudden and painful approach isn't always the case. Whether they've outgrown a connection, decided to focus on themselves, or simply don't have the same feelings they once did, sometimes the INFJ feels the need to distance themselves from their current relationships. And while it's of course painful on both ends and may cause their now ex to feel compelled to fight for the connection, ironically, they have better chances of the connection continuing if the INFJ is just left with their thoughts. Yes, the INFJ wants to feel wanted and does appreciate when their partner is able to effectively communicate how they're feeling. But once it's all said and done, INFJs need a good amount of time to ponder on their decision. If the INFJ is bombarded by another person's emotions in times of self-reflection, they can easily become overwhelmed, resulting in rash and sometimes regrettable decisions. However, when they're able to effectively process their thoughts, past memories, and focus on their own emotions, there's a good chance they'll get in touch with the love they hold for that individual. Number 5. At the beginning of a relationship or friendship. On the opposite spectrum, it's a good idea to give the INFJ space when a new relationship has just emerged. Actually, aside from the fact that this personality type is easily scared away by early signs of clinginess and dependence, there's nothing that makes the INFJ's heart grow fonder than a healthy amount of distance at the beginning stages. Just like any other experience, the INFJ requires an ample amount of time to process each stage of getting to know someone. They need time to run through each detail of their interaction with this potential person, ponder on their assumptions, and essentially talk themselves into opening their hearts. Although the INFJ isn't fond of playing hard-to-get games like who can wait longer to text back, they prefer to set a date once or twice a week to look forward to. If this potential partner or friend bombards the INFJ with wanting to see them every day, constantly asking them what they're up to, or pulling the forbidden "why does it take you so long to reply" card, most INFJs would promptly run the other way. Ironically, once the INFJ is happy in a relationship or friendship, these things aren't nearly as cringy. Number 6. When they begin acting out of character. Being the composed personality type they are, there are very few things that can shake the INFJ from their calm and understanding character. In fact, even in times of upheaval, INFJs are known to be the ones to keep the peace while effectively problem solving. However, it's not in times of conflict that the INFJ pulls away from their everyday character, but rather when they've gone too long ignoring their need for self-preservation and mental recharging. Every true INFJ knows firsthand just how important proper rest, self-reflection, and experience processing is within their lives. In fact, this intuitive type, more so than other introverted personality types, actually use their times of solitude to complete some of the most crucial processes that their brain requires to understand the world around them and to ultimately grow as individuals. This time in solitude allows the INFJ to be who they are in their everyday lives, the empath and the advocate for those around them. However, when the necessary withdrawal is ignored for too long, a whole new INFJ emerges. Defensive and irritable, the overwhelmed INFJ brain just can't process their surroundings and other people's feelings like they usually do. And so, if an INFJ seems overly tired, anxious, distracted, and grouchy, it's probably best to suggest they take a little break from life. And lastly, number 7, when they're going through a significant life change. For some people, moving cities, changing jobs, having a baby, or starting a new passionate endeavor may cause them to want to tell anyone and everyone about this new chapter they're stepping into. Likewise, it's normal for other people to want to hear all the details of a loved one's changing season in life. However, when it comes to the INFJ turning over a new leaf, it's more common not to hear from them for a while. No matter how tempting it may be to call them off the hook with a curiosity of how things are going with their changed way of living, don't expect an update until the INFJ has fully settled into their new surroundings. In fact, it may not even be due to the fact that they're too busy to get around to updating those who are stuck wondering, but rather that they haven't had the mental space to process how things are indeed going. Without mental cycling through each aspect of their new experience, most INFJs would have nothing but short, one-word answers to explain themselves. Luckily, once they've settled and are back to their mental equilibrium, you can expect a long, detailed explanation of exactly how they're feeling. Well, psychos, that's it for today. So, tell us in the comments of a time you desperately wanted to be left alone as an INFJ. Also, make sure to leave us a like, share with your friends, and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a video.